Hey, check up. Let's play some D. Welcome to episode Fiddy-eight of Play Some D with your host, as always. It is me, Coach D, in the building. And this week is another random assortment of stuff, variety of spice of life. The talk show. I always said podcast and episodes, but it's really a talk show. I got that from my man Big Billy Marr. That these aren't really podcasts; they're really talk shows or whatever you want to call it. I feel like overall people get on and talk about stuff. Guess in resemblance to the same thing as a podcast. I guess it's just you can't see their face. I guess technically in the podcast, I don't even know the technical terms of it, but I don't look at this as a podcast at all. I don't do anything in resemblance of a podcast at all. I got four random topics, and this week they are pretty darn random. We'll talk about Google and Amazon. They will let police see your video, your home video recordings and stuff without a warrant. There's other companies that won't, including Apple. I'll talk about that. I don't know if it's big, but it's big. I mean, the Marvel, Comic-Con and the Marvel stuff. Talk about Phase 5 and Phase 6. Just stuff I'm interested in. Quickly gloss over that. I don't have any in-depth, the guys that break it down with all the Easter eggs and all that good stuff. They're awesome, but I don't have none of that information, but I'll just go over what I'm interested for. I always enjoy the Madden ratings. I don't really know why, 'cause I think it's the only representation. I don't even do the 2K ones. I don't really care about the 2K ones, but I feel like Madden is such a long standing video game and standard that the Madden ratings they're just so interesting every year. I just love them. I don't play Madden anymore, but the ratings are always excellent. So I'll do that. And I'm talking about the California late start law. They're just gonna drop for this school year. And I'm just gonna talk about just the whole aspect of late starts for kids, parents, all that good stuff. It's very interesting and cool development with it. I totally think so. But as always, if you don't mind, hit that sub button, hit that like button to turn on post notifications, drop some comments for your boy. But I'm gonna tip this baby off, get us going with the California late start law. It's for middle and high school students. They're basically gonna be able to sleep later, but it's really more than that. Uh, Obviously, sleep is the biggest factor. Um, Beginning in fall, high schools in the nation, most popular state can't start before 8:30 a.m. Middle schools can't start before 8 a.m. Under 2009 first in the nation law forbidding early start times. Similar proposals are in the works for New Jersey and Massachusetts, but California always sets the standards for stuff like this. It seems as if from most studies and from what I've heard and read about is that I guess teenagers are the most sleep deprived, and I would imagine they are even more nowadays. I mean, just think back my high school days, I would be struggling to stay up to watch Raw Monday nights after the weekend. So I got sleep on the weekends. I'm trying to watch Monday Night Raw, and I'm falling asleep on Monday Night Raw. Just how tired I was, and then waking up about 6:15 ish. I believe I was getting up at something like that, 6:15. I usually stretch to 6:30, sometimes 6:40, but I was exhausted, really really tired. So if I did make it through Raw, I think ended at like 11:05 or something like that. I was still getting roughly possibly about 7 hours of sleep when you definitely need more. I was reading about some kids, that they get that growth spurts, and they say to grow you need rest, and I believe that the CDC recommends 10 hours of sleep per night for 13 to 18-year-olds. And on the weekends was always interesting because you could get those times. You could actually, I remember plenty of times where I would get 12 hours from Friday to Saturday, or go to sleep late Friday or late Saturday, like 2 a.m. and sleep till Sunday till like 2 p.m. and like your Sunday's gone. So I remember, doing that a whole lot. And then the days that you were sick or didn't go to school, you slept in and you would sleep to 10, 11 o'clock on the days that, moms was like, oh, no, you don't have to go to school today if you're too tired or whatever. Anyway, and sleep is the big factor, but it's also like I just think energy levels. It's because like even if you hypothetically went to sleep at 8, got the 10 hours of sleep, it's still just early. And I feel like just the early, I always felt like I always hated early basketball games. I hated coaching early basketball games because even if you got rest, it's still just a lethargic time. It's just early, and you just need some time. Even if you do want to wake up at 6:30, you don't want to wake up at 6:30 and cramming right into to getting dressed, going to school, and being prepared. If you do get up at 6:30, now in this case you got 2 hours to get to school. So then you could get up and you could be a little lazy. You could get the juices flowing. You can get some breakfast. I think that's very, very important to, even if you do wake up at a 7:30, or you're one of those lucky kids that live across the street from school, you get up at 8, get to school at 8:30. Brush your teeth, grab a Pop-Tart or whatever, apple, no Pop-Tarts, apples, some nuts, and head to school. You feel a lot better than waking up a 7 hour earlier and having to do that. It's just more energy. Obviously the parenting part has something to do with it. I know, a lot of parents try to line up getting their kids to school with getting their kids to school at the same time they go to work. That's very, very important. I was listening to a lady talk about that, like, adjusting the work schedule with kids' times of going to school and getting off. Also, I think late start times help with late exit times. I always felt like getting out of school at 2:30 is just way too early. It's also that other aspect of now at 2 o'clock, you got a ton of energy. Now that energy needs to go somewhere. If you're not going to practice, you're going to be rowdy. You're going to be this, that, and the other. Where if you stretch that out to like you're getting out of school at like 3:30, the day's winding down. Obviously, it's only an hour. It's not that big of a deal. But by the time you get home at maybe 4 or 4:30 instead of 3 or 3:30, or you feel like you got so much more day, is that when it extends the day out a little bit more of school, is that you got to go home, you got to eat, you got to get the homework done. Then you have some time to wind down, but it's late. And I just feel like school occupying more of the day was always, I thought, just made more sense to me. Obviously, you won't please everybody. I mean, there's some people that just won't work out for it. It's kids and parents. But I do think overall, just in the facts of like sleep schedule wise, I think it helps tremendously. The average start time for a nation's high school was at 8 a.m. in 2017-2018, but 42% start before then, including 10% that began classes before 7:30 a.m. That's a lot. I hated it. I always hated it. So there's a bill similar in 22 states that have been released in recent years. New Jersey School Board has opposed the effort in favor of letting local districts set their own schedules. So that's the other thing too, is that that's not a bad idea when you can pick your school you want to go to. I know everybody can't, but it makes a lot more sense where if there's different districts starting at different times, and I know, learning and charter schools, I get it. Like I said, it doesn't work out for everybody, but that's also a cool way to, I don't mind setting it like that, because then if somebody, if you got a bunch of, maybe not a bunch, but you can pick a couple different choices at different times. I think that's fair. Kind of similar to college, is that when you go to college, you can pick your schedule. Like, oh, I'm not getting up at 8:30 a.m. I'm gonna start class at noon, so I know I'll be ready to go and I have time to study or do homework after. Another big thing I think that is totally important is just the idea of that exact thing, homework. Is that when you're just losing time to get your homework done, it just creates that anxiety. So I need to get my homework done. It's 8 p.m., but I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe mom can't help. Maybe mom don't know. Dad don't know, and I'm just struggling. And it extends throughout the night. And maybe I am up to longer than I should be doing homework. Obviously, it's a me problem. I get it, but you don't want to feel like that long paper or the calculus student or the honor student time gets crunched with homework, and then they're exhausted and they need to get back to school the next day and try to do it all over again. So I think just giving a little bit more time, maybe even for the student to say, oh, okay, I'll still go to sleep at 10, make sure I get my 8 hours of sleep, get up at 6, and then I have an hour, maybe an hour and a half to try to finish up this homework fresh, less anxiety. I don't know if that makes sense or works. I know I've done that before, but I also was one of those fortunate students that was able to pretty much do his homework in class. I didn't really have homework much until my last 2 years really of college. So I know it's not for everybody, but I think this will be a really good. I'm sure the case studies and it'll be out. It'll help schools across the world. I believe across the world, but definitely across the United States, just understand the aspect of sleepy kids, the effect it has on parents, and school's important. So getting sleep and getting to school on time and feeling energized and feeling ready to go, I think is totally key. So that was first quarter. That's California's late start joint, and second quarter is when is where the magic happens, and that magic will be in the Marvel Studios realm. I haven't seen Thor yet. I won't do a Thor review, but I haven't seen it yet, and I think there's a couple more things slated for the end of Phase 4. But this Phase 5 slate just looks, it's just so juicy. I mean, it's so juicy. It's heavy for me because I don't even think you don't even know what's. Only thing that I do know is a TV show is Loki and maybe the Marvels. I guess Agatha's probably gonna be a TV show too, huh? Echo could be too. So I was gonna say it's heavy for me because the TV shows make it a little bit tough. Like I haven't watched Mrs. Marvel. Yeah, I haven't watched Mrs. Marvel yet, but I'm going to catch up on that. But the TV shows are very, very important, and I did hear someone mention about the movies telling the story, so the TV shows, so you don't have to watch a bunch of TV shows. And I do totally get that. I totally get that. You don't want to have to watch a bunch of TV because there's so much TV to watch, and everybody doesn't want to be consumed with the Marvel universe. I'm tapped in right now. I'm kind of sucked in, and I'm okay with that as long as everything's going good. The multiverse just seems so much fun, and this starts off with what I always hated. Actually, was the Ant-Man thing. It was just. Never liked it when I was younger in the comics. I always skipped over it, never paid him no attention. But it's actually pretty cool. I actually just watched the first one for like every time I watch the first one, it's something I always miss and gather more every single time. I think I watched it 4 or 5 times now. Actually, the first 2 times I watched it, I didn't even watch all the way through. I watched bits and pieces. So I've really only honestly watched it beginning to end twice. This last time I watched it, I jumped in with I think it was 30 minutes into it or whatever. But the Quantumania, I think, is gonna be real good. Obviously, it's gonna be the next step in the Kang world, as we got some of it in Loki. The Secret Invasions and Guardians of the Galaxy. I know a lot of people aren't Guardians of the Galaxy's fan, but it fills in some tricky holes that is totally important to see. I just got a feeling Loki's probably going to be the winner of this slate. I bet. I totally bet. Agatha might creep in there, and then obviously the Captain America stuff is always interesting. Now the Ironheart, Thunderbolt, and Echo I know nothing about at all. and I don't know how they're gonna reintroduce Blade or but Morbius is there, and um, I know they're talking about like the street level, and then the galaxy. I get it, and I see how they're tiering it, and not tiering it, but just stacking it. So there's everybody's in like these different spaces in the same time or timelines and stuff. So it's cool. It's totally slick how the normally you don't get. I think the most exciting part is normally you don't get this many options in a film or a series to go so many different ways, and they Marvel has pivoted it so perfectly where they can do just about whatever they want because it has endless possibilities. So I'm totally looking forward to the Quantum Mania, Loki, Agatha, and New World. I was a super Blade fan with Wesley Snipes, so I don't know what to expect. So I'm not really all crazy for that. But those four is what I'll be really interested in. The Phase 6 only has three things I think as of right now, as what they showed at Comic Con, which is the Fantastic Four in November of 2024 with the Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars in 2025, which is a long time when you think about it. It's technically 3 years. So the character that plays, I always forget his name, the guy that plays Kang, like he's carrying uh, not necessarily carrying, but he's a big factor in the next 3 years of of the Marvel universe, at least, if not longer. So he's like he's entrenched in this thing, and as most of these characters are. But we know, his hold at least goes into the Kang Dynasty back in 2025, if that's not stretched out to 2026. Usually these dates don't even ever really match up, but yeah, the TV shows will be a little tougher to catch for me. The movies will be easy go. You just a quick 2 hour, hopefully not 3 hour, but 2 hour watch on a Friday or Saturday night at the movie theaters, and then the catching the TV shows is more in the twine of daily life. So I'm not a total binge, not a binge TV show watcher anymore. Just not, can't, won't do that anymore. So yeah, that's quarter number 2, and that's the Phase 5 and 6 slate of Marvel. Totally interested in. Yeah, that is. Have time. I don't have anything as always, so I'm just gonna hop, skip, and jump over in the third quarter, which is about every time. There's a couple of different things that I'll always jump on and talk about if I can, and this is one of them. And that's smart devices, um, smart homes, cops. I like everything dumb. I promise if I could dumb down my cell phone anymore, which I'm even considering, I would. Definitely would. If Apple made a dumber phone, a dumber, cheaper phone, I would be totally in. I just like iOS interface, how smooth it is. I don't really want to go to Android, and I don't really want to, you know, I don't really want to go through the whole hacking a phone and making it do how I want it to do, and I don't have energy and time for all that. But I just keep my phone locked down to the small things that I use, less apps, whatever. But anyway, Google, like Amazon, will at least see your video without a warrant. Arlo, don't know who that is. Apple, Wise, don't know who that is. And Anchor, owner of Yuffie, which is probably another video. They won't give authorities access to your smart home camera footage unless they're shown a warrant or court order. Google and Amazon will do without if the cops say it's an emergency. So the cops will say, "Oh, you got a Ring emergency. You got a Google, I don't know, Nest or whatever. I don't know what Google uses totally. Oh, it's an emergency. We need to see your footage." I won't have footage. I won't have a camera. Uh, it won't happen. If I ever do and feel in need of a camera, I would more than likely be deleting my footage at least every. It'll probably be set to delete every couple days, more than likely. Maybe if I'm out of town, totally different. If I'm home, nothing's going on, I'm gonna delete the footage because I don't want anybody spying on any situation I got going on in my private home. It's not a lot of privacy left in this world, and I think it's important to um to manage your privacy as best as possible, and especially when you feel like you're getting a quality of life device like a Ring or whatever recording device. You don't want it to be exploited or be used not necessarily against you, just used period. It's just you shouldn't be your home network this monitoring maybe your driveway, but it may catch something slipping down the driveway where people can look into your device and maybe who knows, or see something else, even if you weren't doing nothing, whatever. I just don't want that. And then also just having that feeling that your you have a device that can be used without your consent by the cops or by anybody. It's just a sour taste, at least a sour taste in my mouth. Fulfilling emergency requests is legally allowed but not mandated. Of course, that's how it always is. Yeah, Google uses Nest. Um, some companies claim they can't even turn over your video. Apple and Anders enough, meanwhile, claim that even they don't have access to users' videos thanks to the fact that their systems use end-to-end encryption by default. Sounds good. Still worries me. I'm a tech guy, so it's a little easier for me to say. But like I said, I know if I got, if I have a video recording software, I would do, crazy research, and I would have it like customized where I would have, more control, understanding of the security protocols and all that good stuff. But as I mentioned, like, I just think having for the people that want it or need it, I think for it being available and somebody who's okay with this. Like, some people are totally fine with this. Like, oh yeah, I want to help law enforcement. I'll hand over whatever you want. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't my privacy, whatever. Cool. I don't mind this stuff being available because some people want it. Some people want to know, monitor 24/7 their house and be able to look back like, oh, who walked down my driveway on July 4th, 2001 or whatever. I don't know. We never had it before, but people love convenient stuff like that now. So I get it. Can't please everybody. It's not gonna work for everybody. So that's why everybody should have choices. But on the flip side of that, the not having a choice, if you have a device and realize, oh, I have to hand this over, really sucks. Last year, Anchor apologized to hundreds of its Eufy customers had their cameras feed exposed to strangers, and the reason came to light that Waze failed to alert its customers of gaping security flaws in some of its cameras that had known for years. Because the other thing with some of the smart softwares, it is actually dumb on internally in coding. It's dumb, really, really dumb, but it's given to users as smart because it does what we ask it to do automatically and records, and it seems to work. But exposing gaping security flaws, obviously Windows, everybody has them every now and then, but casually surfing the web, or it's different than having a camera in front of your house. And yeah, so I just think it's first of all, I think it's cool that these articles come out. This is a Verge article that just gives people like insight on stuff like this. I didn't even think that it was an option. I mean, I figured that if somebody, the cops or whoever, I know even Apple with iPhones, they don't unlock them and stuff like that. But I feel like in some way, shape, or form, it'll happen. If you have it, they want it, they're gonna get it. I guess that goes for also, not guess, it goes for hackers too. If they have that, So I just think having a dumber house, dumber car, dumber, maybe not necessarily dumber phone. That's more of a personal thing, but dumb items, less likely for you to be put at personal privacy risk. So that's third quarter. So yeah, moving right along. I like this. I like my pacing today and play some D Fiddy-eight. Fiddy-eight. And this is one of my favorite segments outside of like outside of reviews and like deep political stuff, I think. But these Madden ratings every year, it's grand old fun for me. And this article is from Real Sports 101 is the best one. I just saw it. The first one I saw that came up and gave me what I needed. So 99 Club got 4. I don't mind 4 to start at lunch. Trent's a beast. These are all 99s. They're all 99s. No doubt about it. Devontae, Miles, and Aaron. Aaron Donald. Not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Donald. So quarterbacks is where it gets interesting. And these are the top 50. Okay. So I only saw the top 10. So these are the top 50. But I'll just go down here until we get to, looks like where it is, Kirk Cousins. Tom Brady being 1 is wrong. Totally wrong. 97. He's not better. I mean, I always thought Madden should be a gap of ratings. I always thought Madden should rate the quarterback at what he is at his like worst. Even if that's like a 66 to like a 90, like at his worst, he's a 66 overall quarterback. At his best, he's a 90. And they would figure out a way based on like momentum, how the quarterback's playing, like his skill set can. I don't know how that would work, but I always feel like nobody's a 97 on every day. Like Tom's not 97 every game he plays, but it's a video game, so you gotta. I get it. But he's not better than Aaron Rodgers. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. I would say he is better than Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen at 92 is totally correct. I think Tom should be like a 93. Should be Aaron at like 96. I think they both should be. I think these two should be tied at 96, and then I think Tom should like a 93. Joe Burrow's too high. I think Herbert should be like a 90. Joe should be like a 89 or 88. I wouldn't mind him tied with Dak. Lamar and Russell being tied is very, very, very strange to me. Russell's better than Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson is probably better than Matthew Stafford. Kyler Murray, that's a very generous 84 because I'm not totally sure if he's better than Mac Jones. And I definitely don't think he's better than Ryan Tannehill. I definitely don't think he's better than Derek Carr. So Mac's a little low. I think Mac should at least got an 80. If Kirk gets an 80, I think Mac should have got an 80. Matt Ryan, I don't mind at 81. So yeah, that the quarterbacks seem a little, a little off. Wide receivers. Devontae, we already know is number 1. Oh, that doesn't show the ratings. Oh, I'm tripping. It does. Okay. Head to the ratings. This, I don't mind none of these at all. Tyreek is not better than DeAndre Hopkins, even though he probably had I think DeAndre Hopkins got hurt last year. I would have put JJ at a 94. I'd have put Stephon and JJ at 94. I'd have put Tyreek at a 95. Mike, I would put it at 90. Keelan's 91. Terry's too high. He's not better. I just think he's not that high. Actually, I don't mind none of these. I don't mind any of them but him. I think he's probably like an 89, maybe a 90. If you're going to give Lockett a 90, I guess you should give Terry. He shouldn't be higher than Tyler. Debo, that makes sense. Jamar. I don't know about Thielen being higher than Jamar. Everybody else down here totally makes sense. Pittman should be a little bit higher. I think he's better than 83. Hunter's 85. I like that. Yeah. That's the wide receivers. Tight ends. Do a quick jump at tight ends. Travis Kittle, Mark is not that far off from these two guys. He's probably a 96. Waller should be like a 94. TJ's 89. The rest of these look like the rest of these are totally on point. Yeah. Linebackers, running backs. All right, we're not going to do linebackers. They'll do ends. I don't know if Aaron's an end. He plays inside. But okay, I mean, it doesn't matter. He's a 99. This is correct. Miles, 99. Nick should be a little higher. Vaughn should be a little lower. Cameron Jordan should be a little higher. I think Cameron should be a 92. He should be a 90. I don't mind that Cameron Hayward being 93. Anywhere between 91 and 93. Jeffrey Simmons, JJ, probably a little too high. He did get hurt. Chase Young is the one that I'm intrigued on. I thought he should at least be a 90. I think he is one of the top 5 edge rushers. He did get hurt, so I see that. I get that totally. I'll just do running backs and cornerbacks and wrap this one up here. So for running backs, Henry, I think everybody should have probably bumped down 95, 95, 94, and then Dalvin should have been a 94. Joe, I think like 92. I'd have gave Alvin a 91. The rest of these I think are good. I probably would have put Josh Jacobs over these two, so maybe 89 or definitely 88. I think Leonard Fournette's a little too high. I think Saquon's a little too high. Everybody else looks good. Najee should probably be at least 86. I don't know how Cordell Patterson is as good as Najee, but that's Madden for you. And then last but not least, let's do these cornerbacks. And Jalen Ramsey being that high. See, one of my biggest issues with Madden is that we looked at the receivers and there was all those high 90 receivers, but the corners aren't going to be able to compete with the receivers, at least when you look at it. I mean, I know a lot of people play MUT in Madden, but the corners won't be able to compete. If you're not playing with the Rams or the Packers, you're not guarding those better receivers. I mean, unless they did something with zone coverage and man coverage and stuff like that, because all these corners basically are toast by Devontae and but I'm sure most people will be playing with the Packers of some sort. 'Cause you got one of the best corners, one of the best receivers, best quarterback, 2 good running backs. You're gonna probably play with the Packers. Most people are probably gonna be lining up with the Packers, at least with people that play the regular mode. Like I said, it doesn't really totally matter. Most people play this game for MUT. That's where Madden makes their money. Back to the list though. Everybody should be respectively a notch up. Tre'Davious, I wouldn't mind at a 94. Jair is fine at 94. Slay should be a 93. Ward should be a 93. Actually, I think Marshawn should be a little higher, probably 94. I think Stephon should be a little higher, like 93. J.C. Jackson should be like a 95, I believe. I think J.C. Jackson is one of the top 3, top 4 cornerbacks. The rest of these guys, I think Xavier Howard should have been at least a 90. Marcus Peters, 86 is fine. AJ Terrell, that's fine. Marlon Humphreys, 90, that's fine. Madden, just overall, like I said, that the corners and actually I'll look at do the linebackers because same concept is that these linebackers we saw just kind of comparing them up to just to say the running backs or whatever is that like you got 5 linebackers that's a 90. Not to say that that's not correct, but it puts the defense at a disadvantage when you play the game. So Fred Warner should be higher. I mean, he should be like a 96. DeMario's, that's fine. Levante, I mean, I guess everybody makes sense. I think Bobby should be higher, like 95 probably, 94. Maybe not 95, 94. Micah should have been a 90 for sure, at least a 90. Eric Kendrick should have been a 90. It just was, I guess more guys should have probably been 90s. But given that, defensive backs are the way. Was defensive back a option? I think that was probably the best. They should have just did defensive backs instead of corners and safeties. But, it's just you just wanted to be a little more competitive in terms of just the overall. See, once again, with the safeties, there's a good amount of 90s, but nobody's over a 95. So kind of tough. Very tough, to say the least. So that was Fiddy-eight. Play some D. As always, thanks for watching. This week was the epitome of variety, boy. Can I tell you? I mean, we talked about cameras and privacy, and Marvel, and Madden, and school late starts. That school late start's a big one, man. I know a lot of people be watching California to see how it does, see the test scores and surveys how kids feel and and parents and stuff. So we'll see how it goes, and I do think it'll work out for the best for everybody. The Marvel is just, for me personally, I said it's just I'm super excited. It just seems they got their foot on the cinematic pulse, and it'll be hard for them to mess it up. So, but yeah, as always, once again, hit that sub button if you don't mind. Drop a comment. Let me know what Marvel film you looking forward to. How you feel about that. If you got kids, if school started late, whether you in the United States or UK or Australia or wherever, I think it's a big deal. And everybody ready for football. So Madden rating is just another thing that Madden come out in the season, right, not too far behind it. So, but as you always do, keep it light, keep it tight, and until the next one, how I do. Holla.